Alright guys, I just did the video on the Eberlestock Bandit bag with the Esbit stove, just showing you how to make a cup of coffee in the field in the event of an SHTF or any scenario where you were able to light a fire or do something like this. Maybe you were inside of a building or something and you wanted to find a room that was private and you had time or thought it was safe, you could do something like that as well. With the Esbit stove, there's no problem with that. I don't have the mics hooked up for this video, so hopefully the sound's coming all right. So it's September 1st, 2024, and we are, 65 or 66 days away from elections. In fact, early elections are starting fairly soon. I think in a few weeks is early voting. I know it's around the beginning, middle of September. We've also got September 11th, commemoration memorial services. We have October 7th, type of events going on to remember the attacks in Israel on October 7th. And we're hearing a lot of, or at least I'm seeing a lot of chatter and postings of, there's going to be some type of upheaval in this country on that day or on or around that day. And so in my videos that I do, I specifically stress that September, which we are in today, Sunday, September 1st, 2024, was going to be a big transition month where what I mean by that is things will be picking up regarding, how am I going to word this stuff here? Let's say like interference or harassment regarding the election season. And so what we're seeing around the country, and it's hard to deny it, and the media is even though they tried to ignore it as long as they could, they can't ignore certain things forever because they're just too big. It's too big of events that are taking place for them to ignore it or just push it under the rug. What may have to be done is another event might have to transpire to shift people's focus. But what's happening is we have basically illegal migrant gangs and sanctioned by our own government, which how do I have proof of that? You don't really need proof because by the inaction of law enforcement and on the local and state level and federal level, by their inaction to do anything to help these people that are being subjected to being run out of their apartments or strong-armed into paying rent to somebody other than the landlord or who they've been paying rent to, is something that is very concerning. And it's happening in a city, or it could be happening in other cities and we just haven't heard it yet. But is that going to be the norm going into the election or selection cycle? Is that going to be something that takes place on a more national level in other blue cities, maybe starting in blue cities around the country and going into suburbs or different areas of those cities and pushing this type of harassment of American citizens by illegal migrant gangs or whoever is associated with them, and then watching law enforcement stand down and nothing happen? So I think that's one of the reasons why September is going to be a huge transition month, because with the election so close, if there was going to be any interference or something to where they could, enact some type of martial law or something like that, and it could be anything. It could be a combination of things. It could be some things like this that continue to carry on, or it could be that plus more upheaval and other scenarios taking place. It could be, war breaking out in the Middle East, since most of our assets now militarily are in that region of the Middle East, and our Pacific fleet or our Pacific part of the country where the Pacific Ocean is being left more unguarded than it was prior to sending all those fleets over to to the Middle East. And so if you watch Monkey Works channel, you'll see that he stressed in his last video, and he does this on a lot of his videos as he covers the, I think they're called camber flights, or they're flights that come in continually to the country. Some are contracted out to subcontractors, but they're like jumbo jets that fly people in from all over the world, you know, not just South America, but the Middle East and Africa and over in Germany, and wherever they're picking these people up, they're bringing them here to this country. And so that process continued, and it equaled thousands and thousands of flights over the last year of people, unvetted people coming into the country. So that's by air, people coming. We see that by boat, and a lot of we see on our southern border, they finally get here by foot, but they may have used, you know, trains, planes, buses, automobiles to get to the southern border, and then they walk across and are aided by our own government who's bringing them in. And they're mostly military age men. And so why I say this is a very dangerous time in our history right now, because we've never seen anything like this, where this amount of people, military age men, leaving their home countries and their families to come here in the what's the excuse used, by looking for jobs or a better life. Most people that come with looking for a better life or the American dream will come with their families, and they'll be willing to assimilate or integrate into our society and accept our, you know, way of life, if you will. Let's put it that way. We don't see that in all the countries around the world or that make up the West. We don't see that happening. We see the opposite happening. We see people coming in, mostly military age men, and not integrating and harassing and committing crimes and doing other things in those host countries, all the while getting money and benefits and protection from the authorities, where when the citizen of said country speaks out or says, you know, we need to go out and make this known so our fellow citizens can see the danger and what's happening, they are either called something made up where they're illegal, they're not allowed to do it, or they're picked up, or they're sent to jail, or they're harassed, or they're threatened in some way to force them to back down or stop. Will that continue in America? I believe yes, and probably on steroids. America is ripe for this type of takeover, I believe. And the authorities or the government leaders and whoever's involved, ancillary groups like NGOs and the UN and other organizations that are all in on this in lockstep with each other. Remember that word, lockstep. I mentioned it the other day in a video. It makes us ripe for this type of scenario to play out on a large scale. And now they have assets in place that are in the millions, which can cause some serious disruption. As you know, and if you're a military person, you could comment here in this video, it won't take a lot of like people on a squad level, like a smaller group level placed throughout the country, to cause disruption in, you know, command and control, like telecom, banking, internet, water services, sewer services, gas line services, electricity. And so those things can be plucked out and knocked out one at a time, or in a cascading event type thing, and it could be blamed on something else. And these squads around the country can be used to do that. And it's been done before in our country. There's been incidents where power plants have been shot at, transformers have been shot at, or disconnected or exploded, or, you know, whatever. That's historically fact in this country. Those, you could look those up. Those actually happened. Were they test case scenarios? More than likely. And so that's definitely a real situation that could happen. And then on top of all that, the medical issues that we're having right now, or the pandemic type issues that we're having with bird flu and monkeypox or mpox, and other related things like the resurgence of C19, all happening right before the election, it seems like, in lockstep, one after the other. And now we have the triple E mosquito type illnesses going around, where they're saying people are getting sick and causing lockdowns, and they're mentioning mega lockdowns. So just think of a perfect storm. The other night, Friday night, here in my area in South Carolina, we had a terrible storm come in. Trees are down just beyond yonder here, I could show you. But it was hail, wind, driving rain, and lightning, and thunder and lightning like you've never seen before. I actually, before the storm actually started, I came out and went up the trash disposal area where I throw my trash is about a block away, and I usually always walk my trash up. And stupid me decides to go take out the bag. I said, oh, it didn't storm yet, but let me go take the bag out. I mean, there was lightning exploding, and I was seeing stars like in front of my eyes, which means it was close. And so that was a stupid thing to do, but there are weather events that can take place as well. And all of this leading up to it can cause disruption in our country, to disrupt the elections. And of course, war can break out any day because our assets are already in place. So there's a lot of tools in the quiver of those that want to manipulate things, let's say, without getting into too specific what that is. That all can be done. So that's the reason why, I'll show videos of what's in my, what to pack in and there's other videos on YouTube with people way more advanced than me, but I'm showing you what I do, what I'm carrying, what I take with me, where I go. I'm going to do a couple EDC videos and just show, some basic things on my person when I go out, especially with my family, especially if there's little ones with me, or my wife and, other relatives. My mom and dad are older now, if they're with me. I want to be ready for the worst case scenario. If nothing happens, great, I'm ready for it. If nothing happens, my bag's in my car, it comes back in the house with me, and it's there. Medically, it has some medical on me right now. I've got a tourniquet in my pocket because I carry concealed, and I want to be ready for the inevitable situation where something can happen, and I can respond medically too if I have to, with basic skills. And so that's why I'm making these videos, just showing some basic things like water purification to have ready on your pack, a way to heat up water, something to heat it up in, a little stove like an Esbit stove where you can make just light a little tablet up and have the ability to heat water up or treat water, boil it. Basic necessities, some small treats or eats in the bag. Nothing, full meals, but some small things to hold you over. Communications, you saw the radio. Water purification, a bladed weapon. Have one on me, have a couple in the pack, including a multi-tool. AM/FM radio or weather radio, you saw that on the pack. Some medical gear, yes. First aid kit, yes. Poncho, yes. Rain poncho, yes. Tarp, shemagh, ground cloth, heavy duty ground cloth blanket, yep. A blanket that I could use also to keep warm or roll up in, yep, it's in there. A map of the area, yes, it's in there. I have some room to add a few other things. I think I'm going to add this week a pair of merino wool underwear, a pair of wool socks, and maybe a light merino wool t-shirt or long sleeve t-shirt rolled up. Maybe I'll compress it down and take the air out of it and vacuum seal it and put it in there just to have a backup pair of socks, underwear, and an undershirt, because if you did get wet, those are the things you may need. Socks, super important. So getting back to the video, I don't want to make this too long. It's already at 15 minutes. Be prepared. Stay ready. Think about your own area where you live, your situation, your family, your lifestyle, the area you live in. Is it susceptible to turmoil or something that could happen right off the bat and be bad? You've got to be ready for it. Do you have a place to go? Do you have a fallback area? You know, all these things have to be discussed with family members, and if they don't listen, it's to their own detriment. If my family members don't listen to my preaching since 2008 on this stuff, and watch my 2,000 plus videos on YouTube about some stuff like this, then it's on them. You know, I can't, you can't live for somebody else. If they want to take heed and listen and be prepared and have some even minor backup plans ready, it's on them. My conscience is clear. I can't force someone to be ready or stay ready or do this or do that. It's like talking to the wall sometimes, especially with family members. They laugh at you or, you know, shrug it off. Yeah, I'll get to it. And then when something happens, like, hey, Anthony, can you tell me where do I get body armor? Meanwhile, there's already bullets flying. Too late, pal. Too late, cousin, or whoever. You know, you should have done that 4 years ago when I got online with you guys and started, you know, telling you some of the things you needed. You know, don't wait till the last minute. You know, you go out and you have no toilet paper and you already went to the bathroom. What am I going to wipe myself with now? You didn't have the foresight to pack toilet paper. These are the things you have to have the basics down and practice, like I'm showing you today. It's practice. It's a video, but it was practice. And then talking to you about what September, October are going to bring into this election cycle. I don't think we're going to see, we're not going to be singing Kumbaya. Let's put it that way. And I'll end the video with that. Take care. Stay ready. Anthony signing off.